Tech enthusiasts are desperate for us to buy into their grand promises. But what if we simply turned our backs on them? Imagine a roller coaster ride called the hype cycle, where new technologies spark wild excitement and then crash into disappointment when they don't live up to the buzz. This concept, known as the Gartner hype cycle, originally outlined by Gartner in 1995 during the dot-com boom, perfectly describes our current fascination with artificial intelligence. Right now, we're soaring at the peak of inflated expectations, and many experts believe we're already tumbling toward the trough of disillusionment. That painful drop when reality sets in and companies can't turn their massive investments into real-world results. Most of us, creatives, everyday workers, and just plain humans, well, everyone except those who pumped trillions into AI and stand to suffer huge losses when the bubble bursts, would actually cheer this downfall, this shared awakening from the illusion. As someone who crafts stories for a living and also works in tech, I've witnessed firsthand how people latch onto ideas they barely grasp, often precisely because those ideas seem mysterious. I recall a former boss whispering about my projects in awestruck tones, simply because I was involved in IA, information architecture, which, despite the similar acronym to AI, has zero connection to artificial intelligence. It's all about organizing data in a user-friendly way, nothing more. Sometimes I find it almost enchanting how so many optimistic souls hold out hope for some wondrous breakthrough to rescue us all. Yet, this very faith is fuel for the tech giants. The hype machine thrives on our positive dreams, that yearning to believe in miracles, and our darker fears, that primal instinct to watch for approaching dangers, like in dystopian tales. So, what can we do about it? But here's where it gets controversial. Could we all just decide to tune it out? Picture it like a classroom full of kids ignoring the troublemaker hoping he'll settle down. But maybe class clown isn't the right metaphor for a group of powerful men wielding unprecedented influence. Plus, clowns can be entertaining. Do we truly have the ability to ignore them? Technology is fundamentally speculative. Profits come not from building functional products that succeed in the market, but from convincing people to invest. To break it down further, just as tech insiders love to dissect things, the real money flows from persuading investors that, with enough cash, they can convince everyone else, individuals and society at large, that a particular vision of the future is unstoppable. Only when we embrace their narratives do they reap the rewards. Resisting these tech behemoths is tough in many ways, but there's one straightforward method that no one can strip from you, even if it sounds overly simplistic. Simply disregard their hype and the stories they spin about how it will shape our lives. And this is the part most people miss. Ignoring their tales could actually weaken their grip. As a novelist, I'm fascinated by the art of inventing beliefs from nothing. My job is essentially make-believe, akin to creating fictional worlds. In my tech role, I spent the early Trump years developing a tool to teach Mexican Spanish to Americans. Looking back, I miss the 2010s, when Washington at least pretended to regulate Silicon Valley, instead of the reverse. The tipping point where tech began dominating politics is central to the intrigue in my novel One Story. Back then, many of us trusted social media to connect us meaningfully and flock to those platforms. Now, with hindsight and data in hand, we see how it fractured us, instead, allowing tech firms to manipulate democracy's direction. Yet here we are, falling for a new tale spun by the same players, this time about AI. My debut novel was among those pirated by Meta to train its AI language models, as reported by The Guardian in March 2025, along with works by countless other authors. I'm not advocating for apathy toward tech's actions. We must actively defend artists' rights and much more. But ignoring their grandiose claims could shift the power balance, especially if we challenge the notion that tech prosperity makes any of this inevitable. Throughout my career in software design, coinciding with AI's ascent, I've held jobs that might seem endangered. I felt that looming dread, naturally, as a flesh and blood person, not a simulated entity. Interestingly, This core humanity, my real emotions, experiences, and imperfections, is what enhances my writing and design skills, empowering me to sideline generative AI and its claim to someday craft groundbreaking literature. I suspect most thoughtful readers would concur that, when it comes to potential saviors, a brilliant book is far more likely to rescue us than a piece of code. After all, human-created stories have depth, nuance, and soul that algorithms still can't replicate. Think of how Shakespeare's plays or Hemingway's novels stir emotions in ways no AI output yet can. Pip Finkemeyer is the author of One Story, $34.99, out now from Ultimo Press. What do you think? Can we really ignore the tech hype, or is it too entrenched in our society? Do you agree that human creativity will always outshine AI? Or is that just romantic idealism? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear differing opinions.